welcome to another episode of Bloom Masters TV. Today we're going to be talking about border wars. Now what you think, talking about borders in your landscape, Dusty Miller and Alyssum. Now remember, you can get videos like this and all sorts of information on our website at bloommasters.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel at Bloom Masters and see all sorts of good videos. So, border plants. Dusty Miller and Alyssum, two of our favorite wintertime border plants here at Bloom Masters. A lot of difference between these two, but they serve the same function in the landscape. They're really a primary plant to set off what's behind it. So, we're going to start with Dusty Miller. Dusty Miller is from the Mediterranean basin in Europe. Reports of it coming from Italy and Spain and Greece and all over, so not a real distinct area of where it came from. Silvery foliage. It does have a small yellow flower that it puts up later in its life, but the plant is really grown for its silvery foliage. You can see you have two different styles here. You have this lobed variety, which if you remember the old varieties called lamb's ear and things like that, this is new look. And then you have the serrated variety, and this is silver dust. And same thing, there's multiple quicksilver and all sorts of varieties, but that's a big difference between these two. You either have the lobed ear or the serrated ear. Now, Dusty Miller are a great plant. They have very few pest problems. Deer don't like them, but they don't flower. So you just need to know that, make sure your customer knows that this will be used to set off something behind it normally. Now, the white fuzz on these has a white hair-like structure. Bees actually like to use that white hair to build nests sometimes. So insects pollinate these plants, but it is good to know that if it rains really hard, it'll knock the dust off these Dusty Millers, literally. You'll come out after a hard rain and your Dusty Millers won't look white, they'll look green. Don't worry, 2 days later it'll all come back. So just know that we sometimes get people that call in after a heavy rain and said, my Dusty's not dusty anymore, but it'll come back. As far as the difference between these two, besides the fact that one is known for its blooms and one isn't, there isn't a whole lot of difference. They both prefer full sun, but can take a little bit of shade. Now, in the shade, the Dusties are gonna get a little floppier, they're gonna have a little less of that white to them, but they will live. The Alyssum, same thing. They're not gonna bloom nearly as much as they do in the full sun. Not gonna kill the plant, but you're gonna have plants with speckled blooms on them, kind of like what they look like when you first get them and plant them. This is something that's gonna be ready in about a week to sell. This is something that was from last week. So you're not gonna get this in the full shade, but you will get this in the full sun. In the full shade, it'll probably look more like what they look like when you get them from the nursery. So you've got those two differences. Alyssum are also from the Mediterranean basin. So these plants originated from the same part of the world. They're kind of the same use. Another difference is the smell. Everyone knows about Alyssum, sweet Alyssum. This plant naturally has a honey-like smell that it evolved through the years to have to attract insects. So its way to get pollinated is to put out that smell and attract insects. It's why we like putting it by front doors and pots and things like that. So when people come to your property or to your house, this is what they smell when they come to the front door. So besides the difference between white flowers and white foliage, these two plants can both be put in anywhere in your landscape. It just depends on how much sun will reflect how much white you get out of these plants. Now, wet feet, neither of these plants like to be wet. So once again, it can go in the shade, but if it's a wet area, don't put it there, you're gonna have problems. Dusty Miller also, it can rival what you put behind it. Dusty Millers, if not trimmed, can get 15, 18 inches in the landscape over a 3 to 4 month period. So just think about that. If you plant these in front of dianthus, you might have to come in and prune them back and pinch them back once during the rotation, or at the end of your rotation, your Dusties might actually be taller than your dianthus. So once again, just think about that when you're planting. Make sure whatever you put behind it is gonna have a bigger garden height than it, or just know you're gonna have to come in and do maintenance. But once again, these are two great plants that don't have a lot of deer problems or pest problems, and we see that they do really well here in the Southeast. So for more information on these plants, please go to our website, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.